and let us all do we can to build a better future.
First of all, though, I would be utterly remiss to not speak about the story of the hour, the story of the week. You've heard from my other colleagues on this issue. You've heard from just about everybody else so far. And I'm going to have to say a few words as well about the Supreme Court leak regarding of a brief in which Justice Alito seems to be suggesting that Roe versus Wade is to be overturned. Now, again, this is a leak of a draft. And I want to point out that we don't know what has happened. We don't know who leaked it. There's been a lot of speculation. Mm-hmm. I will say that I've done some research. There have been leaks before with the Supreme Court, including the original case of Roe versus Wade. Right. But not to this degree. Apparently, this whole draft being leaked is pretty serious. And in my view, while certainly there have been leaks before, the Supreme Court usually takes a lot of steps to prevent this from happening. And the fact that it has does concern me on multiple levels. I do want to point out that as of right now, abortion is not illegal in the United States. And even if Roe versus Wade is overturned, abortion will not automatically be made illegal in the United States. There are some states that have trigger laws that will go into effect immediately that would restrict or ban abortions outright. And these laws could go into effect immediately if Roe is overturned, but it by no means means that would be a finished issue in those states. It would just go back to the states. And I also want to point out that there are many states, including our own state of Illinois, mm-hmm. in which abortion will remain legal. So I want people to keep that in mind. When I heard this story, obviously I was very concerned about a Supreme Court leak. That is very disturbing. And whether the person who leaked this thought that they were doing the right thing or not, it shows once again something that has concerned me for a long time, the crumbling of our institutions. We know that people do not trust our institutions in the U.S. The institutions have not been operating the way we expect them to, and I think this is just another example of this.
I would also go. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but there's something else I want to add in here too. To the Democratic lawmakers about Roe v. Wade, I'm seeing already numerous emails from Democratic politicians that still have my email, how they're fundraising now off of Roe v. Wade. Even these new candidates too. But what I gotta say is, are you done wasting my time? Are you done with all the statements? Because Democrats, especially to vote blue no matter who crowd, their little sycophant cheerleaders, these progressive Democrats, everyone that's in the Democratic Party right now. Are you done wasting my time? Because, I only could keep on saying this for so long, but Democrats, you've shown me nothing. You're not going to fight. There were numerous opportunities in which you could have codified Roe v. Wade. You could have done it, but they didn't. You use it to fundraise. You use it to have that little fear propaganda chip just to make everyone vote for you in case, Republicans were going to win, or it looks like that they were winning. And it looks like, again, you're using this very important ruling as something to fill up your coffers for this campaign. And let's face it, the midterm election cycle, no matter what, still looks like an absolute slaughter. When we need our Democratic lawmakers, they're nowhere to be seen. But when it's time for election, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll say things you want to hear. And like an abusive partner, they'll say things, they say that they changed, and they will lie to you. I am tired of being lied to, okay? I'm tired of hearing people say we gotta vote Democrat because they're better than the Republicans. No, they're just as flawed, they're just as corrupt, they're just as inept, they're just as stupid as the GOP, okay? And we as voters, as citizens, have to break away from this. Another thing too I want to just bring up, because I'm angry. And I'm trying my best to really stay as calm about this as possible, especially on Laney's show too, because this is important. What we do here is important. But to all these people, especially TYT, Majority Report, and Humanist Report, and Rational National, and everyone else, you went after people like Jimmy Dore. You went after other progressives who were telling us, hey, we got to challenge these Democratic lawmakers. We got to hold the progressive lawmakers accountable. You're going to give Jimmy Dore an apology? You're going to give the rest of us who've been calling this out an apology? Because you carried water for the Democratic Party, and it's quite clear the Democratic Party crapped the bed, as they always do. There's so much evidence out there showing the Democratic Party could have codified Roe v. Wade. I don't want to hear the damn excuse of, oh, it was a different time, there was this and that. When the GOP wants to get things done, they get things done. When the Democrats want to cower and hide, they'll come up with excuse after excuse after excuse. But you know what? Here's the real truth about the Democratic Party. They couldn't ever codify Roe v. Wade because you want to know why? They're just as flawed as the GOP because of this one thing. They have conservative, blue dog, pro-life Democrats in their party, and they won't do it. Because the Democratic Party, if they have the initiative to be lazy, they will do so. They need excuses so they can't get anything done. Don't waste your vote on the Democratic Party. Don't carry water for the Democratic Party. And anyone that guilts you or shames you to think that you should support the Democratic Party, look at what happened to Nina Turner. AOC, I don't want to hear that excuse about AOC being a fighter either. Last 10 hours into the election, and then she magically endorses Nina. How many times do we need to start showing you this evidence? Now with Roe v. Wade. Don't waste your time. And to all those outlets and sycophants of the Vote Blue no matter who, we're waiting for that apology. We're waiting because the evidence is out there. It's all clear. Democrats, the Democratic Party, party of weakness. And I'm not screaming or yelling like Anna was, because I know the real truth. The Democrats will sell us a lie, smile at us, and then stab you in the back or stab you in the front. So don't waste your time. Here's what I think of Vote Blue no matter who.
Can I continue?
Sorry. Yes.
So when I got news of this, my first response, of course, was to type into our Slack channel, letting my colleagues know about what was going on. And I said, first of all, my concern is naturally what's going on with the Supreme Court. My second concern is this. The DNC has us over a barrel. And they've had us, as Kit has alluded to here, they've had us over a barrel for a long time with this. Oh, if you vote for those Republicans, they'll overturn Roe versus Wade. They'll make abortions illegal again. Women will be seeking back alley abortions. Now, I want to point a few things out here. As Kit has noted, it could have been codified. You know, Obama talked about codifying it. It's been discussed for a long time. I also want to point out Roe versus Wade, even by people who support abortion rights, is regarded as a weak Supreme Court decision. Many people have said, look, there were a number of problems with that decision, the way it was argued, the way it was done, the decision based on a right to privacy, which is really not there in the Constitution. This has been a known fact for a long time, but it's been used as political football. Now, the Dems, for their part, did not do much to codify anything. And the Republicans, for their part, also kind of went back and forth. There was a long-standing rumor, for example, that the Bush family, the men had a public-facing presentation of being opposed to abortion rights, but the women supported abortion rights. And if the Bush men knew it was good for them, they were going to, go back and forth and be wishy-washy and allow various restrictions to go into place, but they were not actually going to take any hard action against it. And what I think has happened in this case is that the Supreme Court has rather predictably been packed so that this decision is being confronted head on by people who are willing to do it and quite potentially will dismantle Roe versus Wade and send this issue back to the states. But I also want to point something else out here. Now, I want to make it clear, I support abortion rights very strongly. And this is based on my political and even religious convictions, partly because I do not trust human nature to make good decisions over a process such as abortion, because pregnancy and childbirth are dangerous and life-altering experiences for women. And I also, for example, support religious freedom in this country, including the right for religious people to be opposed to abortion and to speak out very strongly against it. I believe in that because I believe in the autonomy of body, mind, and spirit. So I want to make it clear that I do support abortion rights. But I also want to point out that the supposed Democrats, these supposed pro-choice Democrat, the pro-woman, pro-choice Democratic Party, has not done a whole lot for the material conditions of most people over the past, in my opinion, 50 years since Roe actually took place and was decided. And in fact, for example, we have not got universal health care. We are still at the mercy of insurance companies. We do not have guaranteed income. There is no guaranteed housing. We have a really poor social safety net. We have also seen public health has declined in many ways. Our maternal child health statistics in this country are a disgrace. We have an infant and maternal mortality rate that is shameful in this country. This country is not in great shape. Our infrastructure is crumbling around us. But hey, abortion is legal, and that's been used to make sure that nobody speaks out against the establishment. So you have to look at what has happened to material conditions. We've seen what's happened to household incomes. We've seen families and households become more precarious. There has been one possible advantage that I have seen, aside from the very important and critical issue of women's autonomy, which is what I believe in and what I base my support of abortion rights on. The only one possibility is that there was for a while a decline in crime statistics, which the authors of the book Freakonomics attributed to the fact that birth control and abortion became legal in the United States, and that children were not being born to people who did not want them or did not wish to care for them. However, I would point out that the crime has been creeping up in recent years. There is this sense of hopelessness. Divorces, for example, have at various times increased over time. Why do people get divorced? Well, you actually look at the reasons that people give for divorce. Finances. There has been very little effort to stabilize family incomes and living wages during this time. But hey, we'll make sure that you have abortion rights. And the DNC has us over a barrel and has had us over a barrel on this point, and they're going to continue to use it to bash us up. And that concerns me deeply. There is another area of concern here, and I alluded earlier to religious freedom. Now, the reality is this. There has not been, if you look statistically on attitudes towards abortion, they haven't shifted that much over the decades. People tend to have their opinion, and that opinion is not going to change. There are many world religions, not just Christianity, that place significant restrictions on abortion. Also on sexual behavior, on issues of gender roles, and the issue of religious freedom is also sacrosanct in the United States, whether you like it or not. That is reality. And what I am beginning to very strongly fear is not only does the DNC have us over a barrel on this issue, where they are going to attempt to say if you vote for blue, if you vote for anything other than blue, you are going to contribute to back alley abortions, but we're going to see greater fracturing within various social justice movements between those individuals who oppose abortion rights and those who support them. The reality is that, and as my friend Caleb Maupin and I have discussed on this show, that there are a lot of people out there who are very concerned with economic justice, for example, racial justice, issues of immigration, a whole slew of peace issues, anti-war issues, who are also opposed to abortion. And this issue, I feel now, is going to intensify, and we could very easily see further fracturing of movements that might make very significant improvements in real-world conditions, human conditions, the material conditions. We're going to see that fracture even more along the lines of abortion. And that concerns me very deeply. And I want to point something out here about this kind of manipulation that is going on. About a day, I want to say, after the announcement of this leak was made and Politico broke the story, Amazon, the company that cannot afford living wages, that discourages unions, that cannot afford a safe room for its workers in Tornado Alley, came out that they are announcing a new benefit, that they will pay up to $4,000 in expenses for anybody who has to travel to get an abortion or other treatments that are not necessarily life-saving. So you see, Amazon already is painting itself as the good guy, despite the fact that they have consistently worked against the material interests of their workers. But hey, we can all applaud Amazon right now because they have managed to jump on this issue, which has basically been handed to them by the powers that be, and the powers that be that are hiding behind that, blue-tinted lenses.
Yeah.
And now we've got Amazon that can paint itself as the good guy because, hey, we'll pay up to $4,000 if you have to leave the state to have an abortion. So this is political manipulation. This is electoral manipulation. It is going to further fracture relationships between friends, family, neighbors. And I'm not denying the importance of abortion rights. I strongly support them. I am also going to note, however, that there are millions of people in this country who disagree with me on that. And the ramifications of ostracizing those people, regarding these members of your family, members of your neighborhoods as your enemy, will have serious implications for our social and community relationships and will pretty much all but ruin any attempt to fight the, dare I say it, oligarchy that rules over us right now. I don't have any one response or suggestion for dealing with this, but I would ask you to keep in mind when people like, again, I'm not shilling for him, I'm not part of his group, I'm not a communist, but Caleb Maupin is saying, look, I will work with anybody if we are going to look at material class interests. I'm asking you to potentially consider the same. You don't have to overlook the very critical issue of reproductive rights at all, but you do have to accept the fact that there will always be this tension, there will always be these disagreements, and right now those tensions and disagreements are being used against you.